Breaking news: hundreds of South Korean workers were arrested last week at a Hyundai LG battery plant in Georgia. The raid by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, sparked outrage in South Korea and put billions of dollars in investment at risk. Today, we'll break down what happened, why it matters for U.S.-South Korea relations, and how it ties into President Trump's economic policies. On September 4th, ICE raided an under-construction electric vehicle battery plant in Georgia. The facility is a joint venture between Hyundai and LG, two of South Korea's largest companies. Hundreds of workers were arrested, shackled, and taken into detention. The images shocked not only the American public but also officials in Seoul. The arrests immediately provoked national outrage in South Korea. Officials in Seoul even sent a plane to repatriate the workers, signaling the severity of the diplomatic fallout. The raid threatened to rupture one of the most important U.S. alliances in Asia, and put hundreds of billions of dollars in investment pledges at risk. South Korean media reported that U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau visited Seoul to convey deep regrets over the arrests. From a diplomatic perspective, the raid was a misstep. It came just days after Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick told the Axios show that the arrests were Hyundai's fault for not having the right visas and that the company should have called for help. In a lengthy post on Truth Social, President Trump appeared to pivot, opening the door for foreign experts to come to the U.S. to train American workers. He wrote that foreign companies building complex products should bring their experts to teach U.S. workers, ensuring that massive investments like Hyundai's $26 billion plan actually happen. Trump's statement acknowledges a key problem. The U.S. lacks the know-how to manufacture many of these high-tech goods. From chips to semiconductors, ships to trains, the U.S. has to relearn some of the industrial skills it once dominated. Hyundai alone plans to invest $26 billion in U.S. auto and battery plants. South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung warned that the ICE raid could chill future investment, jeopardizing economic commitments tied to trade agreements and industrial expansion, including the revival of the U.S. shipbuilding industry. American officials initially downplayed the risk, saying raids wouldn't scare off foreign investment. But Trump's post seems to implicitly admit that the ICE action could have been a major deterrent to foreign companies considering U.S. operations. This incident underscores a fundamental tension in Trump's policies, encouraging foreign companies to invest in the U.S., while simultaneously enforcing strict immigration and visa rules. The raid highlighted that these goals can clash in real-world scenarios. The U.S. wants foreign factories and high-tech jobs, but missteps in immigration enforcement can quickly derail those plans, as we saw in Georgia. The lesson? Economic ambitions and immigration policies need to be carefully coordinated to avoid international friction. The big question now, will the repatriated South Korean workers return to finish the plant? And will this incident permanently cool U.S.-South Korea economic relations? For now, the Hyundai plant's construction is delayed by months, and uncertainty looms over the broader investment climate. Experts say that rebuilding trust will require clear communication, visa assistance for foreign experts, and coordinated economic policies that support both American jobs and international partnerships. In summary, the ICE raid on Hyundai's battery plant revealed the delicate balance between immigration enforcement and economic ambitions. While the arrests sparked outrage and delayed critical investment, President Trump's recent statements suggest a willingness to adjust policy to protect U.S. economic interests. Stay tuned as we track the return of South Korean workers, the resumption of Hyundai's construction, and how this incident reshapes U.S.-South Korea economic cooperation.